Linda is from Substack, and Linda is part of the writer partnerships team at Substack. What can you share about how it works right now, the Substack algorithm? Is there anything you can share with us?
I think that it's essentially, there's nothing magical about it. The motivation of it is really, it reflects on everything I said about the bird watching stuff. It is, if you follow people who talk about a certain topic, then we should be able to use machine learning and coding to be able to say, is this post about that topic that Linda or Christina cares about, and then show it to you. So it's really, if we do our job right, the whole thing operates in the background. If you go back to the beginning of Twitter, the hashtag was a explosively useful, because the kind of algorithmic sorting that we're talking about was not technically possible. People had to do it themselves. So they had to put hashtag birdwatching. I'm saying on the birdwatching analogy for the entire call, apparently. So they had to do it themselves. This is why you don't see people use, not on X or other services, you don't have to use do not use hashtags on notes. You don't have to, because we are trying to read and analyze and say, what is this about? What is going on with this post? And then show people what they find interesting. Now, what I will say is, there's no sort of sense of what people ought to read, or what's inherently good when you start to do that. So you have effects like, somebody will post, I'll give an example that people will relate to. So I have a Substack, and sometimes what people will do is post a screen cap of their audience growth. And I could post something like a screen cap on my audience growth and say, wow, my audience grows so much because I was using notes. And that's the kind of thing that there are a lot of writers on notes, and they will be interested in that, and they will put likes on it. They'll reply, how did you do this, whatever. But then a lot of people using notes are readers, or they're writers who are not particularly interested in seeing me do a victory lap, and they'll be like, why is there so much self-referential content? So if you see self-referential content, number one, it's probably just because people are engaging with it. And number two, that is then for us to tweak and say, how do we pull the lever so that maybe, but we don't want to do it unfairly, right? We don't want to say, if something is authentically interesting to people, we don't want to pull the lever and say, oh, suppress this. Again, that's not very Substack.